And we're live. All right, man. So, hey guys, Federal Prison Talk still here after a few years. Got a guest that's been on here before, and he
Yes,
had to
yes.
go away for a little while. He's back. Maybe introduce yourself. Let everybody know what's going on with you, man.
Hey, PJ Augustine. Just coming home. I was sentenced to 78 months. Out of the 78 months, I ended up doing 33 months. A true blessing, a good vacation, a chance to really work on myself. As you know, Sean, when I left, I said I was on an assignment from God. I got saved on the indictment, and man, what a wonderful, wonderful time I must say that I had in prison.
And you went to Coleman Camp, right?
I went to Coleman Camp. I stayed at Coleman Camp for a little more than a year, and then I went to Pensacola. So
Okay.
I was at
Okay.
both the camps. But I'm talking about just to be able to go to Coleman Camp and join the ministry team and just watch people get saved and
Okay.
just the magnitude of people to come to the chapel. I remember when I first got there, we would have Bible study. It'd be 5 people. When I left, it was packed. You know what I mean? You couldn't fit no more people in.
Wow.
It just to watch God's movement during this time of darkness. And what I realized is, even though I did the crime, I did the PPP, and I'm the one that initiated everything. God used this for His purpose. He put me on a straight path for His righteousness. And oh my goodness, man! When I say that, just taking that time after being so busy for so many years, I managed athletes for many years. And for over 20 years, I was handling everybody else's business. I have 11 kids, so I'm always busy,
Yeah,
moving,
11 kids.
shaking.
Shoot, what do you
Yeah,
what do you do for a hobby, man?
right, moving, shaking, and baking, and got a lot going on. But just to be able to settle down, and at first, I must say, at the beginning of the indictment, it was hard. It was dark. I didn't know if I was
Yeah,
coming or
that
going. You don't know
pre-trial,
what.
huh? That
Right.
pre-trial hell.
You don't know what they're gonna do, how they're gonna treat you, what they're gonna take from you. But then after getting saved, at the beginning, it still wasn't easy. But I realized that, hey, listen, God has definitely got His hands on this, and I trusted Him. And when actually getting sentenced to the 78 months, I mean, once again, I'm thinking that I'm gonna get maybe like house arrest or something to that nature.
I'm
And
still
when it,
getting calls from people like that, and they're hoping for that.
yeah,
And for the PPP scam, they
yeah.
haven't stopped on that, man.
Yeah, and when they went on and gave me 78 months, you know, um, I remember receiving it, and but I'd already had it locked in my mind that I was on an assignment from God, that my job was to go up there and enhance the kingdom. So I remember being at there with my wife and my son. When we got off the elevator, my judge was like, I mean, my lawyer was saying that if you can get under 84 months, and I'm like, what? What? But
Yeah.
I realized no
What?
matter how much time it was, it didn't matter because it was God's hands on it. And my son, my son Al, he started crying, and he was really touched because that's my buddy, man. We do a lot of things together, and just to be away from him was a hurt feeling for me as well as him. But I told him, I said, listen, because he got saved at the same time I got saved, within a few weeks. And I said, if you trust and believe what we say we believe, then we know God's hands on this. So, we got to take our hands off of this. No matter how much time they give me, it doesn't even matter because we're doing it for God. And with that attitude, I remember walking in the cone, and my kids and my grandkids, some of my kids and my grandkids take me to turn myself in. And I remember walking in, and I told the RNC guy, receiving, and the
Yeah.
guy said, "Hey, listen, I'm home." Him and a lady by the name of Floyd. I said, "I'm home." I said, "Hey, I'm coming to bring fire and brimstone in this place." And she laughed, and she said, "What else you gonna bring?" I said, "I'm gonna lose some weight." And at that time, I was 327. I'm down at 250 now, so
Okay.
that was a blessing. But I must say that if you're there right now at the time that I was, he was in this time of darkness, and you don't know if you're coming or going. It's the pre-trial. Don't even worry. Don't worry yourself for one bit. Um, going away, it might be the hardest part of just being separated from your family. But other than that, the camp itself, if you're going to a camp, if you're going to a low, it's nothing to it. Absolutely, positively nothing to it. You know what I mean? Anything that I hate to say it, but if you ate steak and lobster on the street, you're gonna eat steak and lobster in jail. You know?
I got three guys right now. Steven, you're out there. They're all conspirated to get, but they're trying to get to. They want to go to the same place where they do their time, but they're, I'm just. I've been calls last couple of weeks. half of them are for the same crime you did, and
Hmm.
some of them are saying, "Well, I hope I get 37 months. I hope I get," and they don't know. You remember sentencing day? Do you remember that day? What was that like? Did you talk to the
When
judge?
you know what? When once again, my lawyer was saying that he was trying to get anything under 84 months, and the judge ended up giving me 78 months. And one of the things that I said, I asked the judge, could I speak to her before she gave me the time? My lawyer said I wanted to have a couple words, and I said to you, I said, Miss Your Honor, her name was Judge Barker, Pamela Barker in Cleveland, Ohio. I said, if I had it all over to do again, I said, from everything I've ever done in my life down to, helping my athletes to get the PPP loan, I said I would do it. And she looked at me like I'm crazy. My lawyer looked at my crazy, talking about this is my coming to Jesus moment. And I'm right. You're right. I said, and she said, well, why you say that? I said, because during this time of darkness, I was allowed to see God's light for the first time in my life. I said, so everything that I have ever done is for this time right now. It's for me, for this time, this glory. So I took the day of sentencing a little different than most people. I actually celebrated it, you know what I mean? And, right before I went away, I talked to you so I kept the same spirits. I actually went and shook the DOJ Phil Trout's hand, the, uh, the Attorney General's hand. But I shook
Yeah,
everybody's hand. Said, hey man, Mr. Agent Anthony from the IRS. Hey, thank y'all for doing your job. I'm about to go on fire. You know what I mean, for Jesus. I'm about to do this assignment, and I said I see y'all when I get out.
there's
And
guys in there that would have never heard the message though had you not been sent there, right?
man, listen. Sometimes being a disciple of Christ, I realize that I'm the only Bible that some people will ever see. So how I live and how I take things and how I go through things is the only way that they'll be able to see it.
And they're
Um,
only going to listen to someone like you. There's
man,
always a
listen,
pastor. There's a pastor in every prison, but it takes somebody
man.
like you
I
to
done came
on
from
their
the street.
level.
I done came from the streets from the selling crack cocaine to dealing with athletes and from one thing to another from the 80s, 90s on in the 2000s and up to now. So I done been I grew up in Somerville, which is a harsh neighborhood up in Philadelphia. Somerville gang, thank God for to be able to make it out of that with those guys. But I give all honor to God for everything He put me through because it was for that time that I can actually, I'm a real dude. I understand the streets, I understand the language. I can get along with the murderers. I can get along with with the pimps. I can get along with the hoes. I can get along with everybody. But so I talk a language of salvation that anybody can understand. That no matter where you've been at, or whatever your conditions was, no matter what you choose, it's all about choices and cognitive, behavior. So that no matter who you are, Jesus still love you. And no matter what you did, and you might think it's so harsh, hey, I went through a divorce while being away, and I thank God for that. For
Oh, that
it,
happened too, huh? Yeah.
oh, listen, man, look, went through a divorce. It's all my fault. You know, what I mean, I was a guy that did what I wanted to do when I was getting the money. So a beautiful wife, and I chose to do what I needed to do. But I'm about to get married again, and that's a
Really?
blessing, man.
And
What a blessing,
wow.
what a
I
blessing,
now.
man.
Hmm,
What a blessing, and she stood by me while I was down. I had a great support team. Even my ex-wife was a great support team. I'm sitting here sweating. I'm gonna turn out of the shade, but
yeah.
but
I'm here. I'm here in New Mexico too. It's hotter
yeah.
than hell out there right now.
Yeah. So I have absolutely no complaints when it comes to like the support team. Um, while I was in prison, I learned I found out I had prostate cancer while I was in prison, so I'll be getting my prostate removed the 1st of July. So even with all of that, I thank God. I thank God for having prostate cancer. Why? Because it gives me a chance to talk to somebody that's going to go through that situation. I count it all joy for all trials and tribulations that God allowed me to go through. Especially when it's things I don't bring on myself, that I know that it's things that He's allowing to happen for me to further the word of the kingdom. And that's what my life is all about. I was fortunate enough to be one of those guys that was able to come out and still have a house, still have a car, a job, a career. So it's truly a blessing for me. But I was among people that lost everything, millions. And all they worry about is seeking the kingdom of God first. That was the key.
I
for
had nowhere to go when I got out. If it wasn't for that halfway house, I mean, I'd have been on the streets. I needed the halfway house.
yeah.
As bad as you hear that they are, and I was in the worst neighborhood in San Francisco. I needed that halfway house, man.
I'm
You know.
I'm at Dismiss Charity Halfway House down here in Daniel
Oh,
Beach, Florida.
dismiss.
Yep.
I that's the same one that runs Albuquerque. And
Yeah.
I go last year. I was teaching RDAP reentry classes over there. I'm probably going to do it again this year for the guys coming out. 5 years later, teaching RDAP. I mean, who'd have thought, right?
Yeah. And I tell you this, it to me, people can say what they want to say. The food is good. The staff is. I'm actually I'll be out. I have weekend passes now. I'll be out completely in about a week. But the
Okay.
staff is good. A lady by the name of Miss Sims, the assistant director, she runs the place with a firm hand, but she's fair to everybody. A gentleman by Mr. O, you know he really helps you out with jobs. My counselor, Miss James, is awesome. So I have absolutely no complaints. I have absolute.
I've had the director of the Dismiss Charities run by Dismiss. He's been on this show twice, answering
Really,
questions from the audience. Yeah,
man. I
and
mean,
answering the questions that you wouldn't think. Like,
yeah,
are there chomos in there? He answers it all
yes,
for you, man. You know,
yes.
because everybody's there.
You got killers, you got rapists, you got a little bit of everybody.
Everybody in there, man.
And you
It
know
ain't
what
a
the bless.
camp no more. It ain't a
Hey,
camp
listen,
no more.
guess what? The blessing of it is for me is I see everybody equal. I ain't judging nobody.
Yeah,
I ain't no better than no man that or woman that's there. There's women on the same floor.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that's how it
It's,
was where I was too.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
women on the same floor. You know what I mean? It's more discipline in the halfway house than it was at the camp. But I just want to give inspiration and you know just and motivation to people that are going through it right now, that really think that is the end of the world. It's not. You know, time flew. Time went super fast. Um, I mean, it went fast. That 33 months went so fast until you know when it came up on me, I'm like, whoa! Now it's time to go home and get ready and come out to the real world. When I went in, the eggs was you know just a few dollars. Now the eggs is an arm and a leg. But even adapting, I'm taking my time. You know, and I put myself on a 1 year plan. Uh, I I took over. You know, I took 30 something classes while I was in there. You know
There
what I
you
mean?
go.
I did a lot. I took CDL. I got my CDL. You know, come right out. You know, grab the top paying job driving. So I just I really don't. Steve, I know people want to hear the complaints and the bad thing. I just don't have any complaints. I know that God settled me down. You know what I
I
mean?
really don't have any complaints for the camp I was at. I mean,
Yeah,
they treated me with respect as long as I gave it back,
that's it.
And those guards know they're going home at the end of the day. They're not getting.
Yeah,
We don't have a fence. You want something, it's there, right? We don't need to manipulate the guards. It's not like the penitentiary.
nah,
So
man.
so they treat you a little different, you know.
Well, it's all about me personally. I feel it's all about how you look at things. If you're more worried about the little stuff you lose in the cars and maybe a house or you losing the world and everything like that, then that's how you take it. But anything that you have, you can get again if need be. You know, I would say to most people, if you don't have a super support team and you have a couple dollars to put aside to stick some money in and open up a cash app, open up a charms account, because one thing for certain and two things for sure, I will tell you, uh, if you put some money in your own little Charms account or your own little Cash App, you're gonna have a cell phone, or you'll be able to get to a cell phone while you're in prison to be able to take care of yourself and send yourself some money for commissary, whatever you need to be done. You don't have to give your money to nobody for them to do it. I mean, it's. I remember being at Coleman and they came in and did a raid one time about 1 o'clock in the morning, took over 200 cell phones, and by
I
five
remember those
o'clock,
raids.
at about 5 o'clock in the morning, it was somebody running in with a mask on with a bag of cell phones, and everybody was able to buy their cell phones all over again. You know what I mean? It just hey, it was a time that of uncertainty, and that's when I leaned on God more and more. I was just fortunate, you know what I mean, and His favor, just was upon me, and I'm just so thankful for it. I'm thankful for the experience. I'm thankful for my family. My kids was tremendous. You know what I mean? And my twin daughters come visit. My daughter Adrian was magnificent. She just, you know, my soon to be wife Aliyah, she was awesome. I mean, visit several times a month. You know, my son Al, you know, Rel, just it's just filled. You know, my support team was tremendous. I have no complaints. And like I said, even my ex-wife Pam, you know, she came to visit. She came to visit. So I'm one that on this journey I have no complaints. I have no
I,
complaints. I took it in stride.
and that's great to see you. You still got the same spirit you had before you went in. You kept it. You didn't come back, Sean. All that was man. You didn't tell me. No, you don't. It's man. It's great, man. To
Time.
me, it's a reset button. You get to reset
It,
your life. Some people go to these fat farms. They pay thousands of dollars to to put all the world's troubles and their stress and everything on hold while they do. You get it for free if you use it right. You take the classes, you work on yourself, you choose who to hang out with, right? You get to reset everything, and all your troubles, they'll be there. They're waiting for you when you get back. But right
yeah.
now, man, you can work on yourself and come out, a blessed man.
And that was the great thing about my support team. My support team basically told me, "Hey, listen, you go do what you got to do. We got this." And I mean, they held it down. And I must say, I must say, just held it down. You know, just to come out and watch my soon-to-be wife take a business that, you know, just was at the beginning and take it such a high level. You know, I'm just so amazed of, you know, and I once again I came home with more than what I left with. So, so that was a blessing. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
I got some questions, and I know other people are always
talk
curious.
to me.
They want to know, like, the first step back. How much time did you get off for that? How often do you see your case managers? Does you keep taking time off? Like your original out date, does that change as you go along and take all the classes? And then I
Yeah,
hear if you get on a waiting list for a program that doesn't exist yet, but you'll still get the credits. And how
you
much
go.
halfway house time did you get? Home
Yeah.
confinement, all that. Can you break that down for us? What
Okay.
happened to you?
So I got my year off naturally. Now
And
is really
you don't start RDAP right away, right? They wait
right.
till, and plus Coleman
I
Camp
end up.
doesn't have it, right?
No, Coleman didn't have. That's why they sent me from there to Pensacola. Even getting to
Yeah.
Pensacola, I had to wait 6 months to make it on the list.
Because there's a
So,
guy named Brian. He got sent. His designation's Coleman Camp. He hasn't surrendered yet, but so they're going to transfer him, right?
how much time he has?
I believe it's around 3 years. I think it's 37 months. But they'll
Okay.
transfer him, right?
Yeah. So
He's hoping.
what it is? They might send him to Coleman. And he might stay at Coleman 2 or 3 months, and then they transfer.
Okay.
He probably just from South Florida, and because Pensacola's closing and so many of the RDAP camps are
Yeah, that's
closing,
closing too.
they just sending him somewhere until they can just get him somewhere. It's better than him being in the building. So
Yeah.
he'll go to Coleman if it might be month, 2 months, 3 months, and then they transfer right out of Coleman.
Well,
So
he's got two buddies, and one's going to Yankton, so they're all trying to go to Yankton now.
but
One still hasn't been sentenced yet,
yeah,
so he's hoping for Yankton. But
and once again, like I said, so to be perfectly honest with you, he might not even need our dad because he has 33 months. 33 months that he has. So when he gets in there, they're gonna go off of his FSA date. His FSA date is gonna automatically take a year off his sentence.
oh, they take off for your first step back credits. They
Yep,
automatically take a year off,
yep.
whether
But
you're taking classes or not.
when you go in, they're gonna go off his FSA date for everything. So once he gets in there and he starts doing he might not have enough time to even do all that. So with 33 months, he'll do probably real talk. He'll do probably about 11, 12 months, if that.
That, that's kind
So
of what I hear.
he do about 11, 12. He might do about 11 months, and then he'll do the halfway house for about 5, 6 months, and then he'll go to home confinement. You know what I mean? Because
And now they're trying to change home confinement. They just passed a bill, I guess, so you can do more than 10% on home confinement now. Like you
right,
can do
right.
all your halfway house time on home confinement. But I'm wondering how they're going to keep track and monitor these guys because a
Well,
lot of
think about
people
it.
don't know the halfway house runs home confinement. Like,
Right, and
right?
even
People
even
don't
with
understand that. They think probation runs it. It doesn't.
nah, and at the same token, they give you like here at dismiss, they give you it look like a iPhone watch. and they give
Oh,
you a phone.
really?
So yeah, they just put it right on your arm. It's real lightweight. They put that, and then they give you a phone, and you do all your own tracking on the phone. You check in on the phone with your fingerprints or your facial
So no more
recognition.
ankle bracelet. It's a
Nah, no,
watch now,
just
huh?
a watch. It's just you can get it on any arm you want. It's real. You think it's an iPhone watch. You know what I mean? It's
Wow.
set up almost just like this. It's exactly like this. You just put on your other arm, whatever arm you want it on.
Wow. I
So
haven't heard of those. Hmm.
so now they have a community date too that they calculate all your dates together. FSA dates. You got an FSA date, and then you get a community date. So now the B.O.P is saying, hey, we're going to start going off your community date, and the community date is the date that basically calculates because you get FSA even while in a halfway house. So in order for you to get all your FSA time, your community, just for example, the guy with 33 months, his community date will probably be 12 months from the day he hits prison. That's the date that he'll be going out to the community. He's eligible, unless he mess up and they get caught with a phone or something like that, and
Yeah,
he's
you get
supposed to.
shots and all that. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, literally now you can get a 10-year sentence, and as long as you have a minimum recidivism or low recidivism, you can get a 10-year sentence. You're gonna do about 4.5 years on a 10-year sentence.
Man.
As long as you don't have no terminal charges, no fentanyl charges, no gun charges, you're gonna do 4.5 years. You know, what I mean, tops 5, but more like 4.5
Right.
years.
Well, most of the
Especially if you do
guys I talk to coming out every week at the halfway house here tell me if you got a 5 year sentence, you're gonna do halftime or less.
right.
And it kind of goes up a little bit. Maybe if you got an 8 year sentence, you might do 5 years. But basically, you're looking at halftime when you're going to
Yeah,
camps and stuff.
yeah. I mean, camps are low. You're gonna look at halftime.
Yeah,
You got with 33 months, he's got enough time that by the time he gets up there, get his mind together, work out a little bit, and do what need to be done. They're gonna be putting him out.
you'd be a short timer. Nobody wants to mess with you. They
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
want to get to know you, man. It ain't worth their
that's one of
time.
the people that you don't even want to hear about their time. Like when they
Yeah,
come in and they say, "Man, I got 33 months." Oh man, get out of here, man.
I know. I remember being in line for the chow hall, right? And the guy, it's a new guy, and nobody cares what you did. They always say, how much time you got? So I how much time you got? He goes, 6. I go, 6 years? He goes, no, 6 months. And three of
Man,
us just walked away. We didn't want to
I I
buy.
don't even want to build a relationship with
We
you if
don't
you
even
got six
want
months.
to buy. Bye.
Nah,
six
but
months.
I but I mean, things is turning in favor of the inmate. This is a
Yeah.
time right now things are turning in our favor for once. Um, so like I was told at that time, if you have to go to jail, this is the best time to go.
I think so.
This is
Because
the best
when I
time to
was
go.
talking to you a few years ago, and 4 or 5, I've been doing this show, I guess, about 5 years. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was different then. It was you be looking at, and you want to try to get into RDAP and all that now, and uh,
yeah.
like
Now
you
you don't
said, you
care.
don't always need RDAP.
Yeah.
Isn't RDAP taking about a year now too to finish instead of 9 months?
Well, I mean, they're doing a lot of rollbacks because they know that they're closing, so they
And they're
they find
closing a lot of camps down that have the RDAP. I just
right.
made a bunch of calls to every prison that had it. It's down to 9 camps that have RDAP now,
And
and
I was
that's
like, hey,
it.
listen, I tell you what, Pensacola by far none was the hardest RDAP. I mean, we had a gentleman by the name of Dr. Prophet who took it very seriously. Mr. Black, Delgado, and Richardson, they took it very seriously at the fact of coming in and helping you to change the way you think, and not being able to blame the your condition that you grew up in.
Yeah,
And
you got
and
to take accountability for everything. Your
it
side of the street, man. I
listen,
know.
man, and a lot of
And
people complained about
those
it,
pull-ups, people would leave. I'm not pulling nobody up. I'm
man.
not stitching. Remember all that? And
A lot of
there's
people
people
complained
they wouldn't
about
even
them.
last an hour. They would just walk
Yeah.
out, man.
A lot of people complained about them, but I took the time to learn and realize that RDAP had a lot of biblical principles. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I just looked at everything in the way of God, and they talk about the irrational side being the left side of their brain, the rational side being the right side, and I
yeah.
realized
The
everything.
RSAs, man.
Yeah, everything is God driven. So why is the irrational side the right side? Because that's what Jesus said on the right hand side of the throne. Your
Yeah.
left frontal lobe is irrational anyway. So I was able to put everything in the perspective of Jesus, and it helped me out on everything that I went through. So where most people say that they had the worst time of their life at Pensacola RDAP, I can say that I stayed in. When I went in there, Um, I could have had the choice to go to the regular dorms. I went into the RDAP dorm 6 months before I could even go, and Dr. Pop gave me a choice. I said, sure. I said, I come to change my thinking because I was really, power orientated. I was really a dominant, alpha male, and that wore my kids out, my wife out, I mean, a lot of people.
Yeah.
So this gave me a chance to God sent me there to become humble and meek. You know what I mean? To be able to understand that, hey, listen, the most powerful one that came down was Jesus, and he came as a servant. So if you think you power and you think you the man, then who am I? So me understanding that and being able to deal with that in life now, I realized that, my job is to come to serve. You know what I mean? Here, all my life, I'm wearing boss on my arm, and I'm this guy this 7-figure guy that's just doing it and all the.
Now, when you get
And,
into prison, though, everybody's leveled out the same, right? I mean,
it,
you'll have the guys that own 20 pairs of shoes. They pay
yeah,
somebody to do their laundry and fold it and buff their floors. You get
and,
those. I mean,
and,
that's what you call the rich guys. Oh boy, you know.
yeah, and I will be honest. When I first got to Coleman, I took a status of I still had the mentality that I wanted to live the way I wanted to live. So I had the guy that cleaning my cell. I mean, cleaning the room. I had him on my clothes, washing my clothes. I didn't want my clothes going to the laundry. Then after realizing my son Al said something to me. He said, "Dad, you up there on assignment, not to look good." You know what I mean? And my twin daughter said, "Educate yourself as much as you can." And when I went with that approach, man, you talk about a humble approach that was out of this world, man. But I think the biggest thing for me was my support from my soon to be wife. I think her support me and just like mentally communicating with me, and allow me to still be somebody at home. You know what I mean? And that's important because a lot of people cut you off and you don't even have an opinion on things no more. And I remember she said to me, "Hey, you still run this house no matter where you at, so your opinion counts." So she really wouldn't do anything without communicating with me, which kept me in a humble state. But it kept because you really can't do nothing. People can do anything they want. It kept me in a humble state, but it kept me in a state of that I still mattered. Because in a lot of people's eyes, I didn't matter no more. Opinion didn't matter because I mean, what can you do? You know
No,
what I
I know.
mean?
Have you seen the guy trying to run his household from the phone? You know,
Man,
in
listen,
prison or
and
jail. Even in jail, they're trying to run their
they're
household.
trying to run out, and I was so happy to be able to be told, "Hey, you still count here. You still,
Yeah.
have to." Until I didn't even have to say much because of the fact that it was being ran the way I would have ran it anyway. So it gave me a chance. My support team gave me a chance to really concentrate on getting myself and making myself better. So by God's grace and mercy, I was able to really change and took the time, man, because it takes time. Change don't come in one week, but really
No, it
take
don't come by Tuesday.
yeah, yeah, and even coming out, I had to adjust and adapt to coming out, because you come out now and it's like, okay, you out now. Now it's time for you to take and make things happen. So I had to realize about putting demands on myself. Nope, I give myself a year. I'm coming out. I'm not going to overwhelm myself. I'm just going to relax and bring that same mindset that I brought right out here. I'm 56 years old now, and I'm in a mental retirement. You know what I mean? In an active body, but mental retirement. So I look at things differently in life. I thank God for the second chance, and I'm making the best of it. But if you're going, you're gonna be going. Don't worry. Don't worry. Just relax. And I wouldn't care if you got 10 years and you're gonna get a 10-year sentence. Concentrate on 4 years. Just 4 years
Yeah,
of
it
getting
goes
yourself
by
together.
fast. You get. Oh, I
Oh,
know it goes by. I mean, it doesn't go by like in a week, but it's way faster than you could
by
imagine.
the time you settle down, it's over. It was unbelievable for me. Like I mean, once that first year came, it was just like, okay, because I had in my mind that I needed to do at least 18 months, so I wasn't just rushing to get out. And I concentrated on step by step. Okay, this is my first quarter. This is my SMART goals. This is what I want to do. I want to lose some weight. How long did it take me to lose? Okay, I'm gonna put myself on a 12-month plan. I'm gonna put myself, okay, now this first 12 months ago, I'm put myself on another 12-month plan. You know what I mean? And I looked up and Christmas came. Christmas gone. Christmas came. Christmas gone. And before I know it, I'm home.
The holidays are rough. To me, that those are, and there's certain holidays I always took for granted. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
you know what I
I would
mean?
I would say the holidays. was rough. I think one of the roughest things for me was in 2020. I think it was 20. I want to say 23. My son's birthday, June 16th. It was his birthday, and when he pulled in the parking lot, they canceled visitation for Father's Day.
Oh, yeah.
And I watched him out the window in the car, and knowing that I could go over there and give him a hug for his birthday, but I end up in the shoe. And and I end up calling him on the phone, and I said, "Listen," I said, "it's more important that you see and understand that I can't come over to you, not because I can't, it's because of the ripple effects of what will happen if I do. So don't never allow this to be a situation for you that you can't go hug your son." And it was fortunate enough that that Monday it was considered the holiday, and it was Juneteenth that Monday,
Oh yeah,
and
that's a holiday in the
right,
federal prisons. Yeah.
and they end up having visitation, and my fiance had took and stayed around long enough just to see if they were going to have it. She just laid around for a couple of days, and an officer by the name of Miss Wade came and did visitation even when she wasn't supposed to, and he came and I was able to give him a hug, and just the fact of being able to give him a hug was so magnificent. I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I remember that, so that on a daily basis now, and I make sure I give him a hug as much as I can because I remember the time I couldn't. So
See,
even in the darkest of time, I've realized that it's all about seeing the light. You know what I mean? And we say, in the Bible it says, sadness comes in nighttime, but joy come in the morning. And weeping comes in the night, but joy come in the morning. And I used to think that meant that tomorrow morning my problems would be over. But now I realize that during a time of darkness, you weep. But the minute you see Jesus' light, some joy comes in it. So I don't wait too long in the darkness. The minute something happens, I just turn it right over to Jesus and say, "What you trying to show me out of this?" And I have gratitude, So that's me, and I hope
no man,
that.
you're like I said, you are a blessed man, twice blessed now.
Oh, come
You
on, man.
know,
What we talking about? What we talking about? I come home, God blessed me not to lose a loved one while I was in. I did lose my father during the indictment, lost my nephew during the indictment,
yeah,
lost one of my
no,
best
this
friends.
is
So
life. This is life. This stuff.
yeah,
This is life.
yeah,
This,
it's
you
real
know,
life. But overall, I am I'm about to, I got 3 grandkids on the way. So I'm about to be pop over and over again. I got so many grandkids now that it's hard to count. So I am on the third quarter of my life. I
it
thank
ain't
God,
over though.
but
You
I
still
thank
got
God to go to
chapters,
jail.
many
What we
chapters
talking
left,
about,
man.
man? I thank God to go to jail the time I went. FSA is at when I first got in there, they was just starting to get it together. Now is where it's supposed to be, so you know you're gonna get your time that you're supposed to get. Um,
Man, that took them only what 8, 10 years to figure all
ten
the
years,
math out.
10 years, 10 years. Halfway house is going to be a breeze once you get to the point of halfway. Because by the time now a lot of these guys go to halfway house, they're going to be going to home confinement. Not even going to be a halfway house. Halfway house is about to be no more. Besides people that really need them, but people that have a home, you're going to go home and go home confinement. That's what it's meant to be. So
Because I got out 6 years ago. They were just getting that First Step Act. They didn't even know how to do it. You know how to
yeah.
calculate it. Nothing. I
Well,
ended up getting a month off the back end at the halfway house. Oh boy.
yeah, they're counting it automatically down, so it's the computer's doing it, so things are a lot better. And if you got to go to jail, this is a great time to go. You know,
No. Yeah.
it's just like the doctor told me while I was there when they did the biopsy. Told me I had prostate cancer. He said, "Man, if you're gonna have prostate cancer, you got the best prostate cancer. It's slow mover, early stages, man, and you just got to make a choice." He said, "If you were 65 years old, we wouldn't do nothing, but you can make a choice if you want to take it out or radiation." So I just thank God for even that. You know what I mean? So just keep me in your prayers. And, I'm gonna get it taken out the 1st of July. The first week of July. So that's a blessing, man. And everything that's happened to me in the last past 5 years has just been tremendous, man. I mean, from the minute the shocking part of the indictment. Now, when I look back, I wrote a book while I was in there called Favor. I'm gonna be putting that out soon.
Oh,
Yeah, so
give
I'll
me the
let you know.
links or whatever. Pro.
Yeah,
Let me.
so soon as I
Okay.
get it together, they just
Yeah.
finishing they finishing it up now. So as soon as I get all that together, I come back on the show and we'll talk about it. And it's just talk about God's favor all through my life, and how his fingerprints been on me from day one. It's just I finally surrendered, and that's the key. So what I would tell whether no matter who you believe in or what you believe, I believe in Jesus Christ. And he brought me through, and I'm always going to give a whoop whoop for the kingdom. Uh, if you're sitting in a time of darkness now because you're about to go to jail, uh, have no fear. Jesus is there. God has already been there, prepared the way for you and everything. That all you have to do is surrender, get yourself out the way, and seek ye the kingdom of God first. And that's what I would tell everybody that's on there. And when the minute that you do that, I'm telling you, you're going to get a relief. Uh, the problems, the storms are still going to be there, but I have peace within the storm. You know what I mean? I'm one that even, when they was transferring me from Coleman to Pensacola, I had to go through Tallahassee. You know what I mean? And I remember saying I didn't want to be handcuffed and I didn't want to be in no cell and nothing else. I claustrophobic. I remember just getting on the bus and the guy told me, say, hey, man, don't handcuff him. Said, you know what? You give out the food, man. You go and relax. You're going to be the
Oh,
custodian on the bus. You know
oh,
what I
really?
mean? I'm just showing you how God's favor is. You know what I mean? And just, just being able to get on the bus. And I seen a couple guys that I knew that was from Penn 1. They was from Philadelphia, from where I was originally from. Both of them were down for murder. So even walking into Tallahassee, you know what I mean? I had two killers with me. God protected me with two killers. So you know what I mean. So he has protected me and watched over me and just laid me down in green pasture, doing this whole assignment, man. And it's not over yet. I'm just so grateful. I'm on the next level of it, and he's just anointed me and my family with so much oil, Sean. And I appreciate you, man, for having me on. You just don't know. But and once again, Sean, you can always connect me, man. If there's anybody that's really going through something about going in, since I just got
Okay.
out, feel free
Thank
to
you. Thank you.
feel free to three-way me. I don't care what time of night it is or what's going on, because I know that sometimes we got to help talk some people off the ledge. You know
That's
what I
true,
mean?
and I get those calls too. And you,
You got it from me when I first got yeah. So that's
you,
hey,
you know
listen.
what I tell everybody. The most important advice I like to give people while they're on the pretrial getting ready: hug your family members every day. Tell them you love them. I don't care if you just had a big fight with them. You grab them. You say I love you. You do it every day, 10 times a day if you can. And I say you won't understand that till you get in. But you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
And
Because
mean it.
you're not gonna get that back. You're
And,
not gonna get that. You
yep.
know.
I think the key thing is that most of us that are going to jail, we're going to jail because most of the time it's for money, for some type of situation of that.
Yeah, it's our
So
personal greed. It's
a
it's
personal
it's
greed,
more than just a bad decision. It
right?
was a lifestyle that we
Work
picked.
work work on your decision making, um, and just get out the way. Just go with the flow. Before I left, it was funny, and I always say this. I left a 9,200 square foot home to go to a 6 by 10. And I tell you this, man, when I left that house, I left and hundreds of pair of shoes, all types of clothes. I said, hey, y'all can get the clothes to anybody that want it because I'm not gonna be able to fit it when I get out. Don't care about, I put up certain things that I wanted, my golf clubs, just certain things that I cherish. Um, but a lot of it didn't matter. You know what I mean? A lot of it didn't matter, and I could care less about it. It didn't mean anything. And I must say that I had more peace and more joy in that 6 by 10, man. Just making the little food with the iron and just some of the things we did that was so creative. Making cakes, you know what I mean? And,
Oh
you
yeah,
got guys out there
cheesecakes.
making ice cream, and you know what I mean? And just
I still got this. I brought this with me before I went in. It's made of plastic. They let me bring it in, but
just
you know
certain
what I
things.
mean.
And just I remember birthdays and a guy making pizzas and just that same camaraderie I brought home. And me and my fiance, it's funny, we once a month we're doing visitation. So we're because you at visitation you just sit for 8 hours and you just talk to each other. And so we're doing visitation for once a month where it's just me and her just having a visit and just no phones, no nothing, just us communicating. So there's a lot of little trends and things that I learned up there that I promised myself when I get out, spend a certain time, spending like real good time with God. I keep that same routine, and it
Well,
works. I
you
don't.
know how you make God's got a sense of humor. You know how you make him laugh.
How you make them
You tell
laugh?
him your plans, man. Tell him your
That's
plans.
it. So man, I must say, man, that it's just a pleasure. I don't know how much time we have, but it's just a pleasure to be
As
here,
much as
man.
you want. I don't care.
And I'm not gonna. I hope we'll see if anybody got any questions or anything. If any questions
Yeah,
anybody
they've been
has.
coming in and out of the chat room. I've been watching, but nobody's left a question. Not sure
Well,
why. But
if they come up with something and that need to be answered, feel free to take in and to call me. Just call me on a three-way with them. You know what I
okay,
mean? I'm
because
always
it's
here for you.
early. Like it's 9 a.m. California time. I'm Mountain time. It was 10. It's a little early on a Saturday. Maybe that could be why. I don't know. But there'll be comments later on today left on
And,
here.
well, anything that's needed, man. You got my number. I'm always here. Always, man. You know what I mean? And that's not absolute because I understand how important it is. But Sean, I appreciate you having me, man. We're gonna enjoy my son's birthday is this
All right.
weekend, and so we're gonna go over the pool and that's one thing you do have to ask permission to the halfway house to do certain things. So
Yeah. So you're
they
on a
gave me
weekend pass from the halfway
I'm on a
house?
weekend pass, but they allow me, what I mean, they allow me to work real good. So I did some work, and then at 4:30, I'm gonna go do a pool party for my son and just have fun.
Nice.
But I appreciate you having me on, and naturally we'll get together maybe about 2 or 3 months and come on and help some more people out.
Yeah, whenever, man. I'm still here. I'm not doing as many videos as I used to. Life showed up, but I trying to do more. I appreciate you coming back. On after you. I mean, I've had a few people that been on here before they went in and come back out, and that's like sounds like a happy ending. I mean, you're the one that can make it the happy ending. You and anybody that's listening here, you can make this a happy ending. It doesn't have to be the
Man,
end of your life.
that's right. Especially if you have a great mate and a great support team, it really works. It's just trust in God with all your heart. I
Yeah, man.
appreciate you, man, more than you know, man. Thank you for having me on.
God
And,
bless you for calling me when you got out, and man, yeah. Next
and,
time, I know guys want to hear about the tablets and all that. That works, but
Well,
another time,
listen,
I guess.
I tell you this: the tablets work great. They got all kind of movies and TV shows on there. Um, the food is gonna be the food. You're gonna have plenty of food that you can eat
It
out there. Gonna
depends
be
who
plenty,
cooks it, right? If they're
man.
buying the
And
spices and herbs,
man,
yeah,
you're gonna have the food is gonna be easy. The hardest part is gonna be being away from your family, and that gets better.
yeah.
You know,
I refer to the food kind of like your high school cafeteria food. Would you say something like that?
I would say 100% like that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But it's if you can look
better
at
than
the
jail food. Better than jail food.
come on, man. We'll be fine, man. But I appreciate it. Once again, don't forget anything that's needed, man. Just call on me. Hey, I
All right,
appreciate
man.
you, Sean. Thank you,
God
my guy.
bless you. God